Excellency, when you took over government, you did just that. You asked all of us to keep one eye in the past and one eye in the future. One eye in the past so that the past can instruct us about what we should avoid, because our past has been difficult. But one eye in the future, that the past instructs us and we construct a new future for this country. A job you have done very, very well, Your Excellency. Mr. President, the climax of this election, the messaging in this election is very clear. The division of ideas in this election is very clear. We have you presenting hope for this country. Other people are presenting fear for this country. We have you presenting progress for this country. Other people are presenting backwardness for this country. You have your presentation on peace and security of this country. Other people are preaching destruction and instability. Your Excellency, by your message of securing the future, you have given us hope. And whose future are you securing? You are securing the future of those young people sitting in the back tent. Are you listening to me? And so many who have not been able to come in, but they're going to listen to you. The message of NRM as a party is securing your future. Securing your future means the future of the youth is secure. And your future is secure with President Museveni. No one else can secure your future. Mr. President, these people have come here. You have not come to campaign to them, but you have come to give them a distinctive message where they will go back and mobilize the community. Where they will go back and instruct the community with the key.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
A country that keeps an eye in the past and a country that keeps an eye in the future will definitely prosper. Some of the words that we've had that were being given out by the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. Today is Friday, the 8th of April, 2022. Good morning, Ugandan. Thank you for joining us, our family, for keeping it here every single day from Monday until Friday. It's been 2 weeks that have been filled with quite a lot of sadness. Not that the sadness will not go on, but it's been really quite a heavy fortnight, I will say. Emotions have been railing up and about, and of course this is in regards to the late Speaker. But today, probably we hope that we can finally put him to rest and also send him off in a much better way. Welcome once again, and of course I am joined by Mollen, Kenyena. I am joined by Robert Kirabo on this Good Morning Uganda Friday special. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Mollen, and of course to all Ugandans, good morning to you. We know it is a trying moment because today is the day where we are going to witness the final send-off of the fallen Speaker, Jacob Oulanyah. He will be laid to rest today in Lalogi village at the ancestral ground. So it's been a long time really since we had the news that he had passed on till today, when we are going to say bye-bye, God be with you, till we meet again.
Absolutely. Mollen, you really look like you are ready for the weekend. Good morning.
I am. I am, and a very good morning to you, Philomena, Robert, and of course our family here. But we are really starting off the weekend with a sad moment. And I can tell you one thing, we have been sad, but today seems sadder as we send away the late Speaker of Parliament. And obviously he leaves a long legacy, and we have gone through to that even the time he has been here with us. But today is really going to be more darker than the days we've had as we were paying tribute to him.
Of course, he has left quite a whole lot of other things that we need to look up to. But I will tell you, Mollen and Robert, some of the things that we will always remember about the late were some of his impeccable quotes. Okay, and we've had a couple of people mention a few here and there. But I would really love to know, what are some of your best quotes that this man gave out, whether on, you know, official duty outside, whether internally, because he was a very, very outspoken person, very eloquent, and he was very articulated whatever he would say. What are some of your favorite quotes? Maybe just to start off with you, Mollen.
Well, there is an interview he had in one of the exclusives on national TV, and he was talking about, you know, him having a fear of getting out with people, falling out with people. And I'll quote what he said. He's like, even when people disagree with me, I have a standard prayer. Increase the love of those who love me and change the hearts of those who don't. Because it's good to walk into a place and everyone is laughing and welcoming. It is terrible to go to a place and everyone is looking the other side. Just imagine every day of your life, everywhere you go, people are turning the other side. That was Oulanyah.
Oh, well, there you go, Robert.
For me, one of the things that comes to my mind, and this is where I picked my favorite quotes from Oulanyah, is that he was always for the people. I won't forget when he visited the principal of NUP, that is Robert Kyagulanyi, in 2018 on the 22nd of August. We remember what happened, the debacle that happened in Arua, where he was arrested and at Machinye military barracks. So when Oulanyah goes there, he made this statement. He said, "This country is enough for all of us." And that was my favorite. This country is enough for all of us. Then when he was also addressing the youth that was outside Uganda under UN, he said, "We live in one world. Our problems are similar. The water bodies that divide us are not deeper than the blood that unites us as one people under one God." So for me, those two, whenever I think of what he said, it comes to my mind that yes, this world is just enough for us. People have sometimes crossed boundaries. Some think they own this world. Some will grab, accumulate wealth. Oulanyah is gone. Some don't want to have space for others. This country is enough for all of us. Oulanyah said that. Then sometimes we divide ourselves because maybe you come from one part of the country, I come from the other part of the country, you come from this other world, but our problems are similar, and the water bodies or boundaries that separate us are not deeper than the blood that connects us as one human being under one God.
Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure. Oulanyah was a man who believed in living in the moment, and true to his brand, he did that. Whatever he tried to execute, he executed like it was his last day. Whether it came to actually having a good time, enjoying life, he actually did it like it was his last day. Whether it came to his leadership roles, you know, responsibilities, he did execute them like it was his last day. He believed in the moment. Yes, of course, he did say something about the future. Like anybody, you have to be visionary. You have to think about what's going to come ahead, but also do not ignore the moment. He absolutely did that, and clearly I love the fact that he did talk about how he does not entertain any kind of negative energy. If you're going to come around with your negative energy, his positive energy was definitely going to rub off on you. He was that kind of man. Honestly.
At one point he actually mentioned that, you know, I like to live a free life.
Yes.
Because this is the only life I know. I don't know about the other one because no one has reported to me conclusively on what happens there. And that was Oulanyah. He just lived the moment. That's why he was always laughing and wanted, you know, that free world around him. And
actually, talking about him wanting that free world, when Oulanyah became the Speaker of Parliament, the previous speakers, it wasn't easy to access the speaker. But he said, "My office is open. Just get at that door, knock, and enter." And went on record. Look at such a person. You know, how many, just think of it, how many, even just let me not mention level, but accessing them, getting to their offices, My friend, you can meet God while still alive, but
You will
don't
make,
meet,
I will
don't
tell you
meet
one
such
thing,
people.
Robert. You will have to make an appointment like 4 months prior
Someone
to.
is just appointed an RDC and life changes as if, you know, someone
You have
is
to go through like 3 offices to get to
even
them.
they change their phone numbers. You elect a member of parliament, the following day is at Airtel or MTN looking for another SIM card.
Well, well, at least all the legislators right now, all the people in, in positions of power, in positions of leadership, definitely have something to pick from Oulanyah. But also, we need to see what happened in the news, of course, that is last night, and both locally and internationally. Starting off with you, Robert.
Well, yesterday, that is the district councils of the Greater North, that is West Nile, Langwa, and Acholi, held a special sitting in memory of the fallen speaker, Jacob Oulanyah. That is a joint Greater North local government council paid tribute to the departed Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. The council session resolved to name roads in major cities in North in memory of the fallen speaker, construct monuments, construct a cancer institute and a stadium to all to keep Oulanyah's legacy. The joint extraordinary emergency meeting, including local government officials from Acholi, Langu and West Nile, sat in Lalogi village at Oulanyah's home, Omoro district. The joint meeting kicked off in Omoro district a few minutes to 1 and was opened by a lengthy Acholi cultural dance code named Bora Dance, the Royal Dance Show, and the likes of politicians, including the Chief Justice Nyonyintono, participating to pay tribute to the foreign Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. After the lengthy royal dance, the joint extraordinary emergency council meeting kicked off and was presided over by Omoro District Speaker Richard Luganya in a motion moved by the chairperson LC5 Omoro District Douglas Okero. The council resolved that Cancer Institute be constructed, a stadium will be constructed in memory, and a number of roads in the Greater North be named after Jacob Oulanyah.
In another story on Kenya-Uganda border insecurity, government of Uganda and that of Kenya have signed a bilateral security cooperation to strengthen cross-border security. This comes at a time of the escalating insecurities in the Karamoja region, where Turkana from Kenya are accused of destabilizing the area. The Minister for Defense, Vincent Sempija, believes that this step will facilitate the fight against cross-border crimes. The commitment of Kenya and Uganda intends to forge a joint response to security threats that might arise. The porous borders of these two nations warrant stringent control for smuggling of firearms. Collective response to cross-border crimes, streamlined movement of firearms, among others, are pointed out for this defensive cooperation.
And now we move to health, where health experts are worried about the quality of air people breathe as a result of burning fossil fuels. This was reviewed during the commemoration of the World awareness on the well-being of the population. Uganda joined the rest of the world to commemorate the World Health Day at the headquarters in order to mitigate the diverse effects of climate change and purify the quality of air. Ministry of Health and its partners have urged the public to conserve and protect the environment. Over 100 trees were planted as part of the activities to mark the World Health Day in the country. Dignitaries from World Health Organization, Ministry of Health officials, and other health implementing partners took part in the celebrations.
Well, away from that, the UNHRC, where the United Nations High Commission Refugees, needs more than $10 million to sustain the humanitarian services to the Congolese refugees currently held at Nyakabande Refugee Holding Ground in Kisoro District. The UNHCR Assistant Representative Operations, Kripi Felipe, says the agency is appealing for financial support to cater for more emergency requirements in addition to what has been provided so far. While coordinating emergency response services as the leading agency in refugees emergencies, Felipe thanked the government of Uganda for the good environment that makes Uganda a home for the refugees.
And on to the international news, Nick Reynolds, a land warfare analyst with the Royal United Services Institute, a British defense think tank, says he believes Russian military morale will have been sapped by the failure to take Kyiv. The Russian retreat was very rapid from Kyiv and around Kyiv, which actually did have an impact on the Russian forces as well. They left behind quite a few personnel, abandoned a lot of their dead and a lot of their equipment, which they could have recovered, he says. The Russians, says Reynolds, have taken an absolute mauling, and he believes Russian leaders will have serious problems motivating their troops to mount a new offensive. It will be very difficult, and some forces may just refuse. The relief of Kyiv will make it much easier for Ukraine to redeploy its troops, says Reynolds. They are returning from battles around the country victorious, which will bolster their fighting spirit, he says. And on to Nigeria, Nigerian gunmen who staged a deadly attack on a busy train last week have released one of the captives they abducted during the incident. Some 168 people are missing, and it is not clear how many of them were kidnapped for ransom. Some may have gone home without telling the authorities. Family sources have confirmed to the BBC that Alwan Hassan, the head of Nigeria's Bank of Agriculture, was released on Wednesday evening. The banker in his 60s was the first captive to be freed. In a video message, the gunmen said they released Mr. Hassan because they pity him given his old age, the passionate pleas he made, and in the spirit of Ramadan. One of the gunmen said the government must meet their demands before they release the remaining many abductees, without mentioning those demands and the number of people they are still holding. They also did not say which group they were working for, but they say they are not seeking any ransom. What we need is not your money, you know our demands, they said, referring to the government. The governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, has blamed elements from the militant group Boko Haram for the attack.
And now weather and climate news. Energy strategy. Boris Johnson defends plan amidst cost of living crisis. Now, Boris Johnson said it was a long-term plan focused on energy supply, and the government had already introduced other policies to tackle rising energy costs. Now, the strategy aims at increasing UK's energy independence, including plans to boost nuclear, wind and hydrogen power. As experts called it a bigger forecast, consumers are facing huge increases in energy bills after the Russian invasion of Ukraine pushed gas prices even higher. Speaking at the Hinkley Point C nuclear power plant, Mr. Johnson said the strategy was about tackling the mistakes of the past and making sure that we are set well for the future.
Well, of course, you know that we do expect you to be part of our conversations. And of course, in this morning, the poll question, your most memorable quote from the fallen speaker, Jacob Oulanyah. What is your most memorable quote from the fallen speaker, Jacob Oulanyah? And that is on our Twitter. Definitely the hashtag is UBCGMU. We will be sharing it with the rest of Uganda as the show goes on and on. But also for now, we're going to be giving you something, a song that the late speaker did love. He actually enjoyed it on a personal level. He danced to it, he sang to it everywhere. For as long as he was given the platform, he did enjoy. Like I told you earlier on, the man loved his life and he lived it. He lived every single day like it was the last. Please enjoy it. We'll be back shortly.
This is Good Morning Uganda. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get
freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Total Energies has undertaken a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring that Ugandan entities and citizens are adequately equipped to participate in the oil and gas sector. Some of these initiatives include training of heavy goods vehicle drivers.
Total Energies contracted Safer Right Way to develop skills for the drivers from Albertine region. They accommodated free meals, free transport from here to Kampala. Everything's catered for by Total. We do train ladies as well, and as I talk right now, we have got another team of about 15 ladies in Kampala.
People are getting crashes on the way because they don't know what to do. I've got a lot of skills. I know how we should protect one another, the safety of the other road users, which wasn't the case before. And I never expected to really sit in such a truck and drive it. I'm happy and humbled to be part of this group.
Total Energies EP Uganda is committed to the empowerment of Ugandans to take an active part in the overall development of the oil project in Uganda.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning
Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. Now that song, if you're probably wondering what it means, it actually has quite some very interesting information that can totally, and message that can totally be relatable, not only to Jacob Oulanyah, but to every single one of us. It actually means the road is clear. There are no obstacles. And this really relays a lot of the messages that indeed we've been talking about, the way this man lived, Jacob Oulanyah. Clearly, I think this was the prescription to his, to his life, I could say that, yeah. I think he lived his life in that line. Well, we'll be breaking it down, of course, but before actually I get into more details of that, because we are going to actually break down that song. Okay, very, very, very interesting. But also today being Friday, we'll also be giving you what is going to be happening definitely as the hour goes by. The day officially is going to be starting at 9 a.m. and we'll be getting more updates from our reporters, Philip Aguta, who is on his way, to Larogi village. But also we'll be looking into the lifestyle of the man. What lifestyle did he live? We are talking about Jacob Oulanyah. How did he, relate with his people? How did he relate to his people? How did he do his responsibilities? What are some of the ideologies that he lived by? We have seen him dance. We've seen him. Robert, here, I know you are in the same. Is it the Bikers Association? Yes, clearly. We expect you to give us some of, some of the things that he did teach you guys. I know there are certain things, conversations you people used to have. So we're going to be breaking it down. But maybe just to start off with you, Mollen, this song.
Yeah, I could see why he actually loved this song. There is a lot in there, because just to see the translation of the English version of the song, it says, the Creator has opened the way. The path is clear, we just pass. The path is clear, we just pass. And that's how you even see the dancers getting to it and the strength in there. And then it actually says, Satan, you came to the wrong place. You step in the fire, you step on a trap. They are not joking in that song. And you really see how they even go on and say the road is clear, there is nothing blocking the way. Our Savior has opened the road. And he says there is nothing blocking the road. Our Savior has opened it.
And I will tell you, I am not surprised, because he was a very prayerful man. He believed in the power of God. So considering this was his best song and the message that is actually covered in there, definitely it says much about his religious life. But also talking about his life when it comes to the Bikers Association. It's the Bikers Association, right? The Uganda Bikers Association.
It's one of the associations,
one of the associations
that bring together all bikers in Uganda, because we have about 2 big associations. The Uganda Bikers Association, that is for Class A people. Okay. Because to them, being a member require above 600 cc. Now, the ordinary border is 100 cc. So 600 cc plus. For example, the one Jacob Oulanyah Road was about 1,200 cc, the BMW. So the more the cc's, the more expensive the motorcycle is. That is why you'll have Jacob Oulanyah, Honorable Akena, the director, Uganda Road Development Center. That one has a group. Even their bikes, there isn't a bike less than 20 million amongst them. Jacob Oulanyah would even go for about 120 M. Yes. So it has a class. Then there's the Central Riders Association. That one brings together everybody, as long as not a border motorcycle, the Bajaj boxers. Yes. So if you have 250 cc, there you qualify. But Oulanyah crossed borders, as long as it was someone who was riding, and he was an advocate for, let's not only have these associations, if you're going to have an activity where possible, let's all come together. The Central Riders, of course, they have their complications, because the class issue sometimes comes in. Yes, but where the Uganda bikers, the men of dignity, women of dignity, because there are about 7 ladies there, and they ride big motorcycles, including our president. So Oulanyah was always for, let's remove these classes. Yes. Then I remember introduced charity. It was all about, we are going to Fort Potro, we have our motorcycles, some have packages, and they drive, you go have these tourist sites. Usually you leave on Friday, then Saturday you organize a football match with the people, the community around. You play evening, of course it is clubbing. Then Sunday, you visit these tourism sites in this particular area. Then you ride back home. But when you say, let's have an element of charity, whereby it's not all about you guys enjoying yourself, visiting and all that, but you're taking something. So what now happens is, when you go for these rides, for these tours, we call them tours, when you go for them, we collect clothes, we fundraise money. Usually I go to orphanages or homes of old people.
So are all these rides charity motivated? Did they have a motivation behind them, and was it basically charity?
Previously it wasn't charity until Oulanyah and other colleagues, he convinced them that we have to change the trend. We can no longer just go for fun. As maybe some have beautiful women at the back, they are cruising and you're enjoying as a group. So that's what about, that's the biker's life. It's all about enjoying, and that is it. So he said you have to change. At least we have an element of charity. So now if you have our old clothes, keep it. You know, we fundraise money, we buy things, and there are vehicles that go before us. So Friday you arrive, yes, you go to the clubs, you dance and all that. Some rest because they are really tired. Then Saturday morning, we first go for charity. Then after charity, there is a football match in the evening. Then Sunday, the day we are setting off, is then where we visit these tourism sites. So it's speed that determines. If you're going far, then you say we are going to drive 80 per this, or we cruise at that. So after those tourism sites, then we ride back to Kampala. But the charity element, I quit Jacob Oulanyah for that.
You know what I picked from what you're saying, Robert? It was enjoyment with a purpose. Yeah, you cannot just do enjoyment for no. He believed in having fun, but also, you know, attach some, you know, some purpose to it. Don't just go up and about riding all over the place. And the fact that he did change the trend, I mean, it's quite interesting. In fact, yesterday I saw on Twitter, the Uganda Bikers Association they were tweeting and saying they were going to actually head for the barrier, you know, with their motorbikes. And I think this was really very interesting. And the fact that he was part of them clearly shows that he did play quite such a big role.
And for me, I was happy because Oulanyah had his final ride. You know, for us, we believe when one dies, radicals in some countries even bury you with your helmet. But for us, unless one says that, yes, in my casket, I must go with my helmet. But there's what we call the final ride, is that when you die, the bikers have to go with your bike. You know, someone rides your bike, or you have a group of them riding. And I was happy that government accepted this. When I saw the body coming from Muyenga to Parliament to Kololo, Oulanyah was having his final ride.
And that helmet, the helmet that they gave him.
But I think he's not going to be put in the grave. Like some radicals. For example, I prefer to go down with my helmet, you know. But I love the fact that he had that last moment where your casket, the body, and the bikers are leading. So we assume he was a part among the group that was enjoying this ride, and that was his final ride.
Oh, well, we do have our poll question, by the way, that he's running on our social media, Twitter, and that is, what are some of your memorable thoughts from the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah? Definitely share with us some of those thoughts and some of those quotes. I will be sharing them with you in a few. But also, as Good Morning Uganda Friday special still goes on, I want to remind you that we'll be expecting somebody from the tourism sector who will be giving us quite some insights, some things that you did not know, and what Uganda is doing right now. How are we progressing when it comes to the tourism sector? So make sure you don't also miss that. But also, today is the 8th of April 2022, and you know that it is a public holiday, of course, as declared by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. We are going to be finally putting the fallen speaker to rest in Lalogi village, and there is a lot of activity that is actually planned out today, and the day is going to officially be starting at 9 a.m. A lot has been lined up. Maybe just to take you through a couple of them. The national flag, of course, will continue to fly at half-mast up to today. Today maybe would be the last day as requested by His Excellency. So yes, the flags all have to be flying at half-mast. And the Minister for ICT, Information and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, of course, and the police spokesperson will continue giving you all these updates, definitely addressing the country, you know, as the day goes by. But also, all barrio activities will be relayed live here on UBC TV and other TV stations, of course, with reporters. So definitely you don't want to miss all the details, and maybe that is why you are given a public holiday, to actually sit, concentrate, and see what's going to be happening during the course of the day. Yes.
Find your workplace closed. It is a public holiday in honor of the foreign speaker. Sometimes we just wonder, why are we not going to school? Why are we? So they have to know. We have a number of public holidays, but they have to know why this public holiday.
Yes, and also the Acholi community will be performing the Acholi barrio dance as requested by the Acholi Paramount Chief and as guided by security. Isn't that right, Mollen?
Yes. Well, we'll also be having much more of that, and what was given out is that the Minister for Security, Honorable Jim Wezi, will also address the nation on security measures being taken to ensure security and safety during this period. And also more to that, the members of the public need to know that the Speaker of Parliament is the third in rank in this country's leadership and deserves such a befitting burial, which anyway is legally provided for. Therefore, there is need for attention for the burial activities that will happen today. Now, the public is accordingly asked to stay united and calm and to follow the security guidelines to be issued as we observe and celebrate the final journey of our dear friend and colleague.
Wow. Very, very, very
One thing I find unique about today is that in Acholi culture or West Nile, this royal dance is not given to everybody.
The Bora dance?
No, they're different. The Bora dance and the royal dance are different. So what has been performed all along has been the Bora dance. But the Paramount Chief asked for that royal dance to be danced, or today.
Yes.
So this is given to outstanding people. Even the Bora dance. Outstanding people. Not every person who dies because you are naturally that you get the Bora dance.
Yeah.
But high esteem, the list, that one only goes to the cultural leader.
Yes.
That is the paramount. And maybe very few except. But to show how Oulanyah was of importance and how his life impacted many people, the Paramount Chief chose that let him be honored with this royal dance. Many Acholis have died, many people, but nobody I know, when you read through, where the Paramount Chief has accorded him that dance. So Oulanyah was not only a politician.
Yes.
I want to believe he was an icon. He was a unifying factor. He was bigger, actually, than what many would have just thought, that he has been the speaker. In his community, he held a lot of esteem, respect, and power, even to qualify for this dance.
Which actually brings me probably to the next discussion. I mean, we have seen Oulanyah, everybody has talked about him in all the different spectrums. We have politics, religion, and all that. But can we actually have a conversation about the attachment he had with culture? Because I am going to be very upfront with you. I haven't seen a leader, a politician, who is this attached to culture. You see, I don't know how he did it, how he balanced it out, but the man had an attachment to culture. Even his culture, you've just told us right now, his culture leaders did accept this. And it was not for showbiz. It was not even for the camera. This man had his culture right at heart. I mean, if I was to ask any of you, the attachment you have to your culture, apart from knowing the basic info about your culture setup, your cultural background and all that, I mean, would you compare yourself to this man, honestly?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He was really a culture man, and I was listening to the Acholi cultural leader, that is Mr. Achelam, talking about him, and he has been really involved with most of the traditions that go on in the Acholi culture, and I think to that extent is what has accorded him the attention of even leadership to award him or to accord him this kind of burial, for him to be treated like loyalty. That speaks a lot about a man who has been involved in his home. Now, beyond culture, he has been participative in making sure that the Acholi region go to a level where he's proud of it, and a lot of attention. You did see how he was advocating for the health sector and mostly across the Acholi region. That speaks a lot to someone who's trying to fend for his region. And I'll tell you that But also what has been put across is the fact that Oulanyah was not tribalistic in any way. He made sure every Ugandan was on board with his ideology, and that's the one thing that I have commended the man about, because you would not find him in any way, you know, talking about a certain tribal. He was not about that. He was about unity in the country, and that is something that speaks a lot about him. But also, if we're talking about Oulanyah's lifestyle, away from even being a biker, this is a man we have seen getting involved even in music.
Yes.
And we're told he was actually in studio recording a song, and that to me was like, wow. And we did see he actually was getting in touch with the boxer. I'm telling you.
I think he was an all-round. He was an all-round.
When I talk about Oulanyah, one thing that comes to my mind is he lived a life worth living.
Yes.
And he fulfilled it in all aspects of life. When Moses Gora talks about Jacob Oulanyah, that is a kickboxer. You see that he has been there. When various musicians talk about their relationship with Jacob Oulanyah.
Yes.
When religious leaders, when it was at Kololo, we had the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda saying the debt that we have as Anglican Church regarding, that is the construction of the church house. Oulanyah paid, didn't pledge. Politicians in Uganda are good at pledging and never fulfilling.
Yes.
You people. But he asked members of parliament that in memory, in celebration of Jacob Oulanyah, some of you came, I'll give 10, I'll give this. No penny has arrived. Please, let's respect, let's honor Jacob Oulanyah. Go and pay that money to the man of God.
He actually said that he knows wherever Jacob Oulanyah will be, he will be looking at them. So please make sure you fulfill your pledges. Otherwise, he will be looking down on you, and it's like, no.
It makes you look bad.
That's what
Because if a man says, I pledge 100, he sends the 100. For you pledge 5, you pledge 10, you don't. Even in his own village, he was there in constructing a church.
Yes.
So to me, Jacob Oulanyah is this man at his death. We've gotten to know so much about him and so much the good. You know, when you die, two things happen.
Yes.
They'll either talk about the good or the bad. And believe you me, Africa may not pronounce it to the faces of mourners. But when you move around, print where you'll hear, that man has been horrible. Oulanyah, the good things are what people are speaking about him. And practically, not just behaving as Africans, that we look for good things to talk about him.
Yes.
These things are practically there. 120 paid for school fees. Look at that.
There is actually actual work, solid work,
Yes.
tangible work. You can see what he was
Proximity
doing.
to power. This is a man in 2018 when nodding disease was ravaging the region. He said, no, must speak, I'm here. We have people who come from very poor areas and they have been in parliament, they have been in offices for a very long time. But he had the heart for his people and he pushed for 1.3 billion for families of children who have nodding disease syndrome. So to me, I look at this man, he loved his culture,
Yes.
he loved God, he had time for leisure, he had time for family. Oh man, this is a life for us.
Well, because you also look into the fact that he has been a man at all levels. He has been there for the youth, for, you know, he has been in every time of lifestyle, and it also speaks a lot about the education fund that he did start up course. We have seen many leaders, you know, live and go, but to leave something like that, this is a legacy that he's leaving behind, and we can count on the children, even from vulnerable homes who are unable to afford education, could benefit from this kind of fund. And then you see him away from that, getting to the lifestyle. And even when I listened to Gora Moses actually speaking about him, he was taking a lot of lessons from the fallen speaker, and he says, now I feel like I'm confused, I don't know what to do, because this is the man who has been guiding me. I have to wake up early and take him to train, and that is the kind of impactful life that Oulanyah has had.
Well, we're going to be having this conversation, but also there is some more feedback that is coming in from you, especially in regards to, you know, your memorable quotes from the fallen speaker Jacob Oulanyah. And Twina Masco Martin is saying, his mind is when he challenged Museveni that the corrupt officials are brothers and sisters of Ugandans. And I think this statement was among the issues that made Museveni not to reintroduce Akaraba in Uganda again. And Alberto, you're saying our joint commitment to serving our beautiful country and its people And Kamanyire Daniels is saying, well, he tells the members of parliament, you don't just debate, but come with facts. And we know that he was fact-oriented. This man was research-oriented. You don't come and start giving sketchy information, you know, scanty information. He believed in research. Go and do research. He actually did tell them outrightly, please, just don't come on the floor and start doing all this manyanga.
Yeah, at one point he told ministers that, you know, he wonders why a minister would come to parliament for just a few minutes to speak something small. On top of that, they even have a paper to read from. Memorize what you're going to say and say it right there. Don't just be there taking our time reading from a paper. And that was a challenge to the ministers. And I know that this is the one thing that they will miss from him. For sure.
Well, Muhire Apollo is saying we are all corrupt. And I think this was when they were at the Kololo Independence.
Actually, yes. Let me read that quote properly.
Yes.
This is what he said. The corrupt are our grandparents, the society that we live in. We are all corrupt. We are all corrupt.
Yes.
Unless we take this from our own front line, it is a wastage of time. It is a public show for nothing. Deep down, I know we are going back to practice the same corruption that we are fighting, he said during the anti-corruption walk in 2019.
Oh, well. Oh, well.
At Kololo ceremonial grounds. You remember they walked from Constitutional Square.
Yes.
Many Ugandans still refer to it as State Square, but it's Constitutional Square. All the way, they passed here with a band, T-shirts, and they were at Kololo. Now, people are wondering. Some said that we are seeing the corrupt walking because these were the people that actually believe have access to the funds.
True.
You know, because
they're the people
and they're the ones now leading the
and they were the ones with the band
campaign.
moving. So Oulanyah gets to Kololo and looks at the gathering. So now if you look at money that has gone in health, there is a representative here. Energy is a representative here. All avenues where money in this country has been stolen were well represented at Kololo there. So each avenue had a representative there. So I think in the mind of Oulanyah, man, now look.
He was a daring man.
He told President Museveni, we are all corrupt, all of us here. This is for sure. We are going to go back and do the same thing you have been doing. What a man that can speak.
Well, we can also talk about everything, but we cannot fail to talk about his distinctive taste in fashion. When I talk about Jacob Oulanyah and fashion, what is the one thing that comes to mind right now?
The bow tie.
The bow tie.
The bow tie.
The bow tie. He had a very unique taste in bow ties. You would see a bow tie and definitely the first person that would come to mind would be Jacob Oulanyah. Actually, when his body was in parliament, we saw all these MPs wearing bow ties. I mean, what would you have to say about that? I mean, we have seen a number of, you know, pictures of him putting on different colored bow ties. And I mean, it's not even just the bow tie. His general fashion, he was a very flexible when it came to fashion. Yeah. I don't know who used to do this fashion for him or who used to pick these clothes for him or if he had a hand in it. But honestly, we cannot fail to talk about his fashion.
And when we talk about fashion in Uganda, VIPs, there are very few.
Who actually do.
You can just mention them fingertips. I can tell you there are very few. Male MPs, the female, yes, they're doing great.
The male?
But VIPs, men in this country, you see suits you cannot negotiate who the tailor is, where they were made from. You see ties, color combination. But Jacob Oulanyah was among the maybe top 10 in Uganda because you can just count them.
Yes.
The men, you know that when they dress, the likes of Mike Mukula, the likes of Mama Mbabazi, the likes of Oulanyah, very few, and I'm serious, there are very few. Let's say, yes, this is a VIP. The dress code, the appearance. But Oulanyah represented that to the maximum, I must say.
The bow tie.
And he had a commitment to that, to the bow tie. You wouldn't find him in an international event without it. That was his brand, that was his line, and that's how the man actually loved that kind of fashion. But also it's interesting how most members of parliament were actually making a commitment to do this for the next 3 months.
Yes.
They want to put on the bow ties in the memory of the late speaker. And to me, I'm like, okay, go ahead, but will you be committed as he was?
Because if you can't fulfill a pledge, we don't know. We were a little bit skeptical about that.
I have my eyes on them. I want to see whether they're keeping this up for the next 3 months, because that speaks to every
much
day
from
doing
these
that.
people.
Well, we can get a benefit of doubt.
Let me tell you one thing. What made Oulanyah very unique? Now we are at Parliament. Oulanyah kept time. those MPs you see, they can't keep time. They don't. Oulanyah was never absent. The level of absenteeism in Parliament, if they were presenters of a talk show or a show like Good Morning Uganda, it would have never been there.
Well, at least when the body was in Parliament,
those
the
guys
house was full.
From the days of Rebecca Kadaga, one of the problems he had with members of Parliament is absenteeism. Then cheating voters, where one comes and signs and moves away. So for me, I just pray, Heavenly Father, that these men and women will emulate these two things: timekeeping, smartness, and also honor Ugandans that elected them, so that we live. We have laws that were once passed in this country and we lost it because of lack of quorum. Yes. The anti-homosexual law in our country, when it was challenged in court, lack of quorum. Imagine. Lack of quorum.
I mean, it's your responsibility to mandate
because
to be in Parliament.
There,
you're supposed to be.
They don't turn up.
And actually, if you have seen around the trend that most of these ministers he was actually having an issue with, is that even when they come to Parliament, it's when they have been summoned. But I don't know where it is put across that ministers are not supposed to represent in Parliament, because they are supposed to be there.
Yes.
But only when they are summoned is when they show up. And he had an issue with that. And I hope that in the challenge that he put across, they're able to now, get to what he wanted. Be there in Parliament, represent. And obviously, it's going to be a challenge when it comes to timekeeping. I don't know whether anyone will measure up to the standards of
we just hope when Magufuli died, we had a term, Magufulification of Africa. Can we see that? Or Oulanyah?
Oulanyification?
Yes, in Parliament. That we look at the good qualities of this man. Let that Parliament, the honesty, the unifying factor that he loved everybody. Northern Uganda, there's a time they had a problem, the Lango and the Acholi. And President Museveni, when he was giving his speech at Kololo, he talked about that. But Oulanyah, there is a way he unified the North.
Yes.
And these traditional hatreds and all these line things were something that had become of history. So can we see that? To me, if we can have that Oulanification of our Parliament, then this nation is going to go to greater heights.
Paul, question still running. Just to remind you, what is your most memorable quote from the late Speaker Jacob Oulanyah? Hashtag UBCGMU. But still talking about Oulanyah. His character of being very down to earth. Okay, he pulled it from all angles in whatever he did. I mean, just a couple minutes ago, we talked about how he actually asked people, you don't have to have an appointment with me. No, just come to Parliament, look for my office, knock, I will open and see you. How many legislators are actually in a position to, in fact, they are in a position to do that, but how many are willing to go that far? Because I know there are certain people I know, for you to meet them, to meet him or to meet her, you have to have an appointment of about like 6 months prior to.
Yeah.
Okay? This is a leader who is probably representing you, but because you feel like there are certain issues that are not being addressed, and like, maybe I just need to get there in person. Who is willing to do that?
Well, for me, I think actually it speaks a lot to commitment. But again, we do have laziness among our leaders. And if you're not willing to have that opportunity to have the attention of people who seek your attention, then that means that you're lazy. You're just not willing to take on whatever they have to tell you. And that's what our leaders do. Because once you close that door, it's like you're telling people, no, I don't have time for you. But Oulanyah wasn't like that, which is why he actually went ahead and said, you know what, my door is open. Come to me with any issue. Because he knew he had, the attention he could give to whatever issue they were going to put across. And that speaks a lot even to patriotism. The willingness to be able to get involved in everything across the country. And this is a challenge, not just even to the member of parliament, but like we mentioned earlier, the RDCs. There are offices you would go to and it would take you days to see this person that is actually supposed to be serving you and listening to your issues, but they are never there. I don't think that no one has done that to that level, being that open and you're willing to listen, even at such a position of power. And I'll tell you one thing. Even he's the third in rank when it comes to the country. But along those similar ranks, it would take you months.
But you see what is really disturbing is talk about an RDC. And I mean, comparing positions, RDC and a speaker, ideally, who should be more accessible?
One of the problems...
But it works the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, Oulanyah, I was shocked to learn that he wasn't an Acholi. He was a Langi.
Yes.
But Anthony Akol, who is the chairperson of the Acholi parliamentary group, when I was hosting him, he revealed that. But this is a man who comes from a humble background, but does not exalt himself. The problem we have in Uganda is self-exaltation. You know, that some people, you know, like they forget that you were not born with these titles. They forget that they are there to serve people. MPs, many, call those numbers that they gave you during campaigns, whether you just call, they pick or even call back. Today, the numbers are either off or it is their personal assistant.
Oh no, they actually changed most of these numbers.
Oh, they changed these numbers. But self-exaltation is a problem that comes. One would say but because it is too much in this country. For example, in this country, it is normal for a chief guest to come late.
We have normalized it when
okay.
it ideally shouldn't be like that.
I don't remember the likes of, I'm told, Dr. Samson Chiseka, Apirl 8Th, Jacob Oulanyah. You can just count them. They are timekeepers. Others, it is very ordinary. And even the young crop of politicians, leaders, they know the chief guest arrives late. I mean, why would you arrive late when you're the chief guest? Self-exaltation. So let's copy some of these things. I love the fact that you could access him even when you know he would come to a place. I was listening and watching a clip of someone called Ayubu, a short guy, works at Parliament, very, very short. And he tells you how they met with Jacob Oulanyah. You know, how they have, that a deputy speaker by then, you know, he was a person of people. There is nothing you lose at the end of the day. Because one of my friends told me, when you're going up, respect the people that have put you up. The ladders. As a politician, a person in public office, you're there because of this. So that when you're going down, in case time to land happens, you have a safe landing. But when you go up, you break ladders. The more you go, the friends, the people, at the end of the day, when you come down, that is when you hear Ugandans celebrate.
Yes.
He has been in this particular country. He's gone this far. Yes, hooray, hooray. Because you know, we should be saying we've missed this person as a speaker. We've missed this person as an RDC. We've missed this person. But but when people celebrate, it means you've had no relevancy. You've been on self-exaltation. You've not been serving the people.
No one is missing your contribution. Like they have not seen your impact, so they are not going to miss out on whatever it is. And that's how I think people
you had built a kingdom around you. Now the kingdom is no more. You become a laughing stock.
Oh, well, clearly there's quite a whole lot that we're going to miss about this man, which has actually, you said something here that has brought me to a realization. If you died right now, do you think people would miss you? Do you think your contribution would be missed? I mean, depending on what you're contributing to
your
society.
Silent party somewhere.
Or it would be about that day and that's it. Well, that is a question for you that you need to be pondering about. But more feedback is still coming in, of course, in regards to the poll question. And gentleman here says, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Wola is for the royalists, but the dance credited by the Wat is the dance for the warriors, because Oulanyah was a warrior for peace and unity. Well, clearly that is very, very important for us to note. Well, definitely we'll be getting into some more clips to show you some of the remarkable speeches that the fallen Speaker of Parliament did make at different intervals, different events, but also we'll be taking you to the papers to see what are they saying, because I can actually tell that all these papers are definitely paying tribute to the fallen Speaker. And of course we'll be having more conversations again in regards to the tourism sector much later on of Good Morning Uganda. That will be around the hour of 8. And of course, Mollen will still be coming in with more and more and more information coming in from the weather and climate. But also, like we promised you at the beginning of the show, more updates will be coming in, especially towards the burial arrangements. And Philip Aguta, our reporter, who is in Lalogi village, will be telling us what's happening on ground to give us a feel and give us a picturesque description of what is happening over there. definitely, like we said, UBC TV will be giving you all the details until the function is done and dusted. Good morning, Uganda. A Friday special will be returning right after these speeches.
Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and all the dignitaries who have come to this important function. I salute you all. My name is Jacob Oulanyah. I'm the Deputy Speaker of Parliament. I stand here on behalf of the Speaker of Parliament and the entire Parliament of Uganda. Your Excellency, 2,000 years ago, or thereabouts, a man sat dining with people he trusted, dining with people he loved. And then all of a sudden, a woman walked in. That woman walked in, fell on his feet, started crying, wiped her tears on his feet, poured oil on his feet, and the rest of his friends who he loved turned with a scorned face, turned with disgust in their faces. And they said, "That woman touching your feet? No." And that man was Jesus. And then he said, "Let he who has not sinned cast the first stone." And their faces, which was full of anger, turned into remorse, turned into guilt, turned into embarrassment. Because thinking again, possibly one of them could have an evening with that same woman. Your Excellency, if we were to ask that same question this morning in this important meeting, let he who has not practiced corruption cast the first stone, we would be shocked how many stones would fly here. Mr. President, the pretense in this country, the showbiz in this country, everybody talks about corruption without identifying who the corrupt is. Mr. President, who is the corrupt? The corrupt is my wife. The corrupt is somebody's husband. The corrupt is somebody's sister. The corrupt is somebody's brother. The corrupt is somebody's father. The corrupt is somebody's mother. The corrupt are our grandparents. The corrupt are the society that we live in. Mr. President, we are all corrupt. And it is not going to be a fight against corruption. It's going to be our own change of attitude and stopping corruption. One writer, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, he wrote in his Petals of Blood, he's a Kenyan professor. He said, "The struggle, my brother, begins with you." In other words, the struggle against corruption begins with me, begins with you. Do not wait to be anything else or anybody else to fight against corruption. It starts with me, it starts with you. Don't wait to be the president of this country to start fighting corruption. That's a lie. The struggle to fight corruption starts from where you are and what you do. You may be a head teacher, that is your front line. You may be a commander of the military, that is your front line. You may be the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Deputy Chief Justice, that is your front line. That fight must begin from where you are. Let's cut the pretense, Mr. President. Let's stop being corrupt. We all are guilty as charged. Let anybody challenge me, Mr. President. Unless we take this from our own front lines and extend the frontier to cover other areas, it's a waste of time. It's a public show for nothing. I come because it's a public show. But deep down, I know we are going right back to practice the same damn corruption that we claim to fight. I have come here on behalf of the Speaker and of on behalf of the Parliament of Uganda to make this recommittal to the fight against corruption. I, Jacob Lokori Oulanyah, Deputy Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, on behalf of the Parliament and on my own behalf, do hereby pledge that Parliament will adhere to the following commitment in the execution of our duties: to be honest and ethical in all our dealings, to provide timely services to the people of Uganda, to refuse to elicit or accept any bribe, to negotiate all government contracts with integrity, to ensure zero tolerance for corruption. Jacob Lokori Oulanyah, Deputy Speaker of Parliament, dated this 4th day of December in the year of our Lord 2019. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Round of applause.
Your Excellency, I've also been tasked to invite you to address the nation. Sir.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
The press review this morning, starting off with the Daily Monitor, President Museveni Kagame to meet in Nairobi today. But also the main story, Oulanyah dad not to speak at a burial. And of course, today, end of the road, all roads will be leading to Omoro district in northern Uganda today, of course, as mourners from all walks of life descend on the home of the former Speaker of Parliament, that is Jacob Oulanyah, to send arguably one of the most illustrious sons of Acholi to a place of no return. And there is a scoop pull out over there. So how far is too far in comedy? And still in the international news, Ketanji Jackson named first black woman in U.S. Supreme Court. And quite a number of jobs for you there, for you who is looking for what to do. There are very many opportunities that you could pick something from. And onto the second page of this Friday's Daily Monitor, there's a picture over there from the archives, and that was rally driver Ponsiano Ruakataka congratulating then Gulu Member of Parliament Norbert Mao. Still today in history, government reveals plan to teach Arabic, and Kenyatta sentenced to hard labor. All that in this Friday's Daily Monitor. And moving on to the Daily Monitor Sport, cricket cranes have no fear for Namibia. And of course, you talk a big game as Africa Men's Sevens hosts. There is quite an interesting picture there. The cricket cranes coach Lawrence Mahatlane chats with players, of course, during a training workout in Kampala. And just in case you need to know, the cricket cranes take on Namibia in the first of the 3-match series this afternoon at the Tratsko United Cricket Club. And still moving on, Ghana must look past Uruguay rematch, says a paint still. And Pima Serunjoji lead quest for KHC award, and individual mistakes have thrust us at sport of bother. That is Maweja speaking, of course. And the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022, we have about 227 days to go. And definitely that is a serious countdown that everybody can't wait. Well, it's also important for us to know what is happening in the New Vision this morning. Mollen.
Well, in the New Vision this morning, big headline over there saying farewell Oulanyah. Now there is a 24+ page special, over 20,000 expected at the burial, rich as expected. A look into his memoir and the memories of his S1 teacher and how Cecilia Gwang reconciled Oulanyah, Kadaga. Much more of that in the New Vision for today. Well, also in the New Vision, talks on torture. Museveni, AU Special Envoy, discussed torture. And that is detailed on the page 3 of the New Vision for this morning. But across security, a full list of promoted UPDF officers. And that is detailed on page 7 of the New Vision for this morning. But also a look into the New Vision sport for this morning. There is a big picture over there for the first Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of East African Community, Kadaga, throwing her weight behind Ndeje's plan. Well, UCU and UPDF want answers, and that is across, the UCU canons. And they also give you a picture of what the UPDF is into for that. Endorsed is the big headline right there from Ndeje's, camp, and they are looking at hosting most of bracing themselves with the East African University Games. There's a lot right there in the New Vision Sport for this morning. Target is the title. URU also speaks out, and they also put across a picture of some of the URU's members right there hailing to the ball. They're looking for the title. Now there is much more of that into the New Vision Sport that you can get into. Also, school kids taking part in a tug of war during celebrations to mark International Sports Day at Nakasero Primary School. There's a lot also in there with the Uganda Olympics Committee and what the President Donald Rukare is saying about, the Olympics Committee of Uganda.
And also taking a look at the Daily Nation this morning, a budget for the people, of course, that is over there in Kenya. And well, there is quite a breakdown of what is going to be happening or what amount of money has been distributed to what sector. And its implementation will fall on President Kenyatta's successor. Wow, imagine the transition of power and of course the responsibilities that come with that. And Raila makes U-turn on zoning plan after protests, and the pandemic. Is COVID-19 behind us? Kenyan experts beg to differ from that question or statement. And over there is a study that has been revealed. Life expectancy is highest in Eastern and lowest in Western. All that in the Daily Nation this morning. So you can grab yourself the copy online or even the hard paper itself to get all these stories. But also, much as it's very important to get all these stories, we need to get into the climate and the weather. Mollen will definitely be telling us that. But before, Mollen, you really are very, very smart. I don't know whether you're just taking you're picking a leaf from the lead, but you're clearly doing it. You're looking so nice. I don't know how, where, why.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But guess what? It's not a coincidence. I have the best stylist in town on this. And I'm talking about the Mr. Otio man, that is Alvin Clever. This guy has got it when it comes to fashion. Well, he did style me up today. That is why I'm looking so dope. But you know what, Philomena, yes, you can also pass by his shop and get yourself, he's a guy who will get you into the weekend. And he's right there at Arua Park Plaza, that is level 2, shop F2637. You can get yourself to Mr. Otioman, that is Alvin Klein. He's on my wares for today. So yeah, I'll also be recommending, especially when we're talking about changing weather, yes, which kind of wares you need to put across. And this is the man who will get you into that.
Very, very important to note. So is it going to rain today? Do I have to look for my jacket? Do I Do I have to look for that bomber jacket? I don't know. Is it going to, shine? How is it looking like?
Well, follow my trend, but that is if you're going to be somewhere I am going to be. However, we have a full look of the picture that is happening across the country, and we'll tap from our satellites looking into what the weather is like even as we speak. This is real-time data showing us most parts of the country actually experiencing mostly intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. We do have those white colors right there indicating clouds across parts of northern Uganda, across the West Nile, but we also have a little bit of blue colors popping up. That is across southwestern Uganda towards areas of Mbarara. That is where we have a little bit of much more clouds. Now, there was light rains earlier in the morning, but as you can see as the image plays, that is clearing away to mostly cloudy conditions. Now we have that rain system where you see the deep red colors to yellow to blue. That's the rainy system right there. It started across the eastern side of Lake Victoria, bringing in a few rains across areas of Jinja, a few areas within Tororo, but looks like that is also spreading across. And we do have clouds developing across parts of Kampala, Wakiso, and Entebbe as well. Now that is indicative of just intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. However, we do expect to have most of those, developing into a little bit of light rains that will be later in the day. But for now, we're only enjoying a little bit of intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Now, what is mostly sunny across the country, where we're talking about Soroti, areas of Mbale, we're talking about Amuria, and across midwestern parts of the country, that is where we have Masindi. We also have a little bit towards the Chilga region. We have mostly sunny skies. And most of that will also be continuing into the afternoon. But the good news is that at least for the southern part of the country, we'll be looking mostly into what is expected to happen, and that is in terms of some of the weather models that we have that is across the African continent. And much of that is actually portraying mostly dry weather, especially for northern Uganda. But we'll continue to look into the full picture of that. And the forecast that was given out earlier, that is from the East African Prediction Center, that is coming in from ICPAC, is also showing some of the areas that have been highlighted in terms of rainfall expectations for this period, and that was running, it's still running from the 5th to 12th of April this month. And our focus is mainly on southwestern part of the country. Take a look into those yellow colors right there. That's where we do much more of the rains within this period, and also where you have the orange colors, that will be a little bit of light rains. However, the forecast indicates that much of northern Uganda, eastern Uganda, and most areas within the country will remain equally dry, and this is in terms of rainfall at totals up to the 12th of April. Now we do have in terms of temperatures as well, where you see the orange colors, that's where we do have temperatures expected to be a little bit high, and to that scale that will be topping to the lower 30s. And we have in the highlight that is the West Nile and parts of central northern Uganda. But where you see a little bit of light yellow right there, that's where we also have temperatures slightly above normal for this time of the year. But the southern part of the country seems to be having quite normal temperatures also for this time of the year. And where you see the blue colors, that is parts of Kabale Highlands and a little bit towards the southern part of midwestern Uganda, where we have areas of Ntoroko towards Fort Poto. We do expect temperatures to be really low for this period as indicated from the forecast. But also a look ahead into our forecast as we head into the weekend. Now the model that is shown over there is for the GFS medium range forecasts for Africa, and looking into Uganda for what is forecast for today. Still seeing those green colors across southwestern Uganda. That is where we do expect some rains even for today. So as you can see, even where you have those light colors of white and gray, those are the areas that are expected to remain equally dry for today. But then again, as you head into the weekend, I'll give you a picture of what Saturday will look like. Now, we are still looking at a reduction in wet weather activities. Now, if you look at northern Uganda and the eastern part of the country, still remaining dry. But where you see the light blue colors, those are the areas that are expected to pick up in terms of wet weather conditions. Now, as you head into Sunday, also you look at much more of those rains reducing. We do have still northern Uganda, eastern Uganda, and much of central reducing. in terms of rainfall, but we do also see at least the southern part of the country also reducing in terms of what we will be expecting for Saturday. But Lake Victoria still remains with possibilities of having much more of those rainy conditions. And like I mentioned earlier, we do have most of those effects coming through because of the local effects of Lake Victoria influencing some of the weather systems that we have over there. And that, you know, brings in the advantage. But I can tell you it's a little bit of a lightening up weekend that you're looking forward to. So unless you're moving towards the extreme end of southwestern Uganda, that is towards Kabale Highlands, that's when you might need a thick jacket. But elsewhere in the country, it looks like temperatures will be just to the normal. You don't need to have extra wears. Now you can always move with an umbrella for the areas that I've mentioned are expected to have rains. Other than that, you can just go on with your outdoor activities, as the weather is expected to be quite calm even for the weekend. Philo, do you have a weekend plot that you're looking forward to?
Well, I haven't yet really set up any plans, but I know as today goes by, eventually, by dawn, I'll probably have come up with something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll definitely.
At least you call me up and you're like, Mollen, how is the weather going to look like? What should I put in? And
exactly.
That information, I actually give it out for free. I'm not charging. But well, I want to leave you to take us through what we have next. And Good Morning Uganda obviously continues. I'll leave you at that. My name is Mollen Kenyena, and wishing you a nice weekend.
Thank you so much, Mollen, for those updates. Well, today being, of course, Friday and being the final day when we are expected to finally put the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, to rest. Of course, that means that he's going to be buried today at Lalogi village. And, of course, this is going to be up there in Omoro district. Now, we did promise you earlier on that we'll be giving you all the updates, definitely. And, of course, we have live pictures that are coming in, as you can see from the screen, what is happening on ground. And our reporter definitely will be giving us more of this information. That is Philip Aguta, who will be telling us what to be expected during this day, how many people are actually expected to be in attendance of this burial. But also, aside from that, definitely we'll be taking a look at the security outlook. What is happening there? The security, is it actually put? Are the standard operating procedures being observed? But then again, we'll also be taking a look at, we'll also be getting into some of the rituals that are expected to be happening. Of course, we know that at the start of, this whole period, they really put it out there that certain rituals will definitely be practiced. But of course, as you can see live from Omoro over there, the setup, and we can see that security is already placed in several places. Of course, given the nature of a function like this, it has to be put, and people are beginning to actually start to come in and get ready because the function is supposed to be starting at exactly 9 a.m. and it will stretch all the way along, as the day goes by. We can't put the exact minute this function will be coming to an end, but definitely we'll be giving you what will be happening minute by minute. And as you can see, people are actually coming in. The security, I am actually really happy that the security is doing their duty and their responsibilities to make sure they check everybody, for the safety of everyone. This is a public gathering, so obviously we'll be having a bigger picture that will be painted to us by Philip Aguta, who is over there. Now, it's been an intense fortnight, 2 weeks from the time that it was announced that the Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, had passed on, and this announcement was made by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. That was on Sunday, about 2 weeks ago. And of course, the body had to get into the country, which it did on Monday, and this week has been crazy. Well, Philip Aguta is actually with us right now, and he's going to be giving us more. Philip, good morning.
Good morning, Mastiko.
Thank you for joining us here.
You are welcome. We are coming to you live from Lalogi.
Yes.
Right now, as you can see, people are already in high spirits of coming to attend the burial of the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. And it is just 8, and if you can look in the parking, there are already vehicles almost in hundreds. And that shows that there will be over 30,000 people here. By the time it clocks 1, when the service is likely to begin, it means people will be in a big numbers. But right now, the number of vehicles here, people are checking in through the security checkpoint, and everything has been set in place to ensure that the send-off of the fallen Speaker of Parliament is given a befitting attendance, a befitting prayers, and a befitting something that shows that this has been a national leader. That's why all these people are already in high spirits to ensure that they attend the burial of the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah.
Okay, Philip, now looking at the numbers, how many numbers are we expecting to be in attendance of this burial?
Of course, the local organizing committee here has been giving statements for the last 1 week that there will be over 30,000 people attending the burial here in Ajuri, Lalogi sub-county. Of course, these numbers may not be fixed. The locals here, they have not been counted in that number. What has been counted is at least the confirmation from the people, especially in government institutions, traditional institutions, companies, that confirmed that they will be coming. As I was coming in, I saw vehicles coming from West Nile. You could see buses that are coming from West Nile, coming from as far as Western Uganda. So that shows that the number of people coming here is really going to be high.
Okay, so I also understand that there is quite a number of rituals that are going to be, carried out ahead of this function. Maybe you could take us through some of the rituals that will be done by several categories of people. Could you probably take us and paint a picture of some of these rituals?
I can't hear you well.
I understand that there is a number of rituals that is going to be carried out, of course, in respect of the burial of the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. Could you probably paint for us a picture about some of these rituals?
Of course, there is no much ritual that will be performed. It is just what I know from the day the Speaker's body arrived in Uganda. The only ritual we have been seeing is the traditional cultural dance that is called Bwala. It is something which it is a performance that is done to people, especially who are in high profile, like the kings. That is traditionally. Now, of course, the Speaker at his level, that's why they have chosen to be singing for him that song after his demise, showing the spirit of respect for him, paying tribute to the contributions he has done in this area and Uganda at large. I don't think there are rituals that will be performed. Of course, there will be just speeches. Of course, the service will be led by the Archbishop of Church of Uganda, that is Stephen Mugaru Kazimba. He's expected to be here, and the Vice President, Jessica Lupo, is the one expected to represent the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. She will be the one here. Of course, other dignitaries, the Speaker of Parliament, the Vice Speaker, the ministers, all these MDs of government agencies, they will all, of course, be here. So apart from that, I don't expect any traditional ritual that will be performed, apart from the traditional dances just for the send-off of such a high-profile person.
Well, at this given moment, Philip, would you actually say there are certain dignitaries who have already arrived, or all of them are supposed to or are expected to come in much later on? Even the local leaders, are there some that have already arrived as we speak right now?
I've not seen any. Of course, our tradition here in Uganda, the high-profile dignitaries are the last to arrive. Right now, I'm just seeing people arriving from all the corners of Uganda. People are mainly arriving in vehicles, buses, in groups. That's what I can say now. Of course, most of these people came in yesterday. They slept in the nearby towns and cities like Gulu, like Lalogi Trading Center, like Opit Trading Center. So most of these dignitaries arriving now, that's where they slept. But of course, I also expect dignitaries or the mourners coming from Kampala, West Nile, as far, especially those who are coming as individuals and those who are not coming in the groups. I believe they will be coming in those far distance areas. But those who are coming as groups, let us say like West Nile, maybe the students from the university who came last evening, and they are the ones now arriving right now at the venue where the prayers are going to be held.
All right, Philip, the security maybe is something we need to talk about. I can actually see quite a number of men in uniform moving up and about, but has this been the same situation since yesterday? Because you did talk about people arriving in right from yesterday.
Right now, in my observation, and I interacted with the police officers here, there is no major incident that has really taken place here to cause to cause havoc or to scare people. It has not taken place. But the deployment alone is enough even to scare whoever had the bad intentions to disrupt the burial of the speaker, because I can see all the security agencies have been deployed here. The police, the army, the prison service, even the men in plain clothes, they have been here for 2 weeks in place. Even in the police alone, all the departments, you can see counterterrorism is the one in charge of the checkpoints. And so that means you can see that they are really prepared to make sure that they secure the burial of the Speaker of Parliament.
Okay, so where you are right now, is that where his body is actually, the specific place where his body is expected to be finally put to rest? Or is this a place that has been reserved, for the service?
Where we are right now is called Ajuri Primary School and Ajuri Church of Uganda. And all these institutions here, he has been the one behind them. They are just some few meters from his home and burial ground. It is not even half a kilometer, but of course they have chosen this place simply because if you can look this side, there's enough space for parking and there's enough space to set the tents for prayers. That's why this ground was chosen. But where his body is going to be laid to rest is just some few meters from where I am standing. And the prayers will be held here. From here, few people will be selected to go and do the real burial. But the prayers will be held here, and these 30,000 people are expected to come for the prayers will remain here. As the tradition has become of late, it is only a few people who will be selected to be able to go to his home and do the real burial.
Okay, and of course we expect a gun salute that will be given off. How many gunshots are we looking at?
I've not really been given that information yet, but of course, since it is a state burial, yes, and he has not been an army officer or not general, or there are those principles of state burial. I think it is between 7 to 9 gun salutes. That's what I think. But if, of course, if he was in the army and he was having another rank and being a Speaker of Parliament, that would be another case. Okay. But I'm really not sure of how many gun salutes will be given to him.
All right. So as we come to the end of this, are there more updates that we should actually be knowing about for now, as we plan to join you much later on?
The only information I can give is that the service here is expected to be led by the Archbishop of Church of Uganda, that is Stephen Mugaru. And the Vice President, Jessica Alupo, will be representing the President of Republic of Uganda here in this burial, including, of course, ministers, the Deputy Speaker, the Speaker of Parliament. All of them will be here. But for now, they have not yet arrived, and maybe I imagine that the service is likely to begin mid-morning. That is either between 11 to midday or midday to 1. That's what I expect.
Thank you so much, Philip Aguta, for those updates. And he's live from Omoro. Of course, as Good Morning Uganda goes on, we'll be giving you more updates. And during the course of the day, they will be telling you whatever is happening as all these events unfold at the barrio of the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. Well, we will be going in for a very short break, but of course when we get back I will be giving you more feedback, especially in regards to the poll question, and but also we'll be having an interview from one official from the tourism sector who will be giving us quite a number of insights how we are doing right about now, especially after these 2 years. We've been going through a slump, and just like any other sector, so make sure that you stay around and you catch a drift of all these details. Good Morning Uganda Friday Special returns shortly.
COVID-19 is still here with us. As Owechitiwa Peter Maiga, the Prime Minister of Buganda, states, let us all take the necessary precautions.
Self-medication is always very dangerous. We should leave medical matters to the medical personnel. It's only a healthy population that can produce wealth. And if you want to work for your well-being, you must care about your health first.
Because of the new COVID-19 circulating variants like Omicron, it is very important for all of us to be fully vaccinated with 2 doses of the same vaccine type. It's only those getting Johnson & Johnson who receive only a single dose to be fully protected.
Even after vaccination, continue to adhere to all SOPs by wearing a mask properly, covering your mouth and nose, washing your hands regularly with soap and clean water, or using an alcohol-based sanitizer, maintaining physical distance of at least 2 meters from others, and avoiding crowds. Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and partners.
Total Energies has undertaken a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring that Ugandan entities and citizens are adequately equipped to participate in the oil and gas sector. Some of these initiatives include training of heavy goods vehicle drivers.
Total Energies contracted Safer Right Way to develop skills for the drivers from Albertine region. They are accommodated, free meals, free transport from here to Kampala. Everything's catered for by Total. We do train ladies as well, and as I talk right now, we have got another team of about 15 ladies in Kampala.
People are getting crashes on the way because they don't know what to do. I've got a lot of skills. I know how we should protect one another, the safety of the other road users, which wasn't the case before. And I never expected to really sit in such a truck and drive it. I'm happy and humbled to be part of this group.
Total Energies EP Uganda is committed to the empowerment of Ugandans to take an active part in the overall development of the oil project in Uganda.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! go! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Thank you for joining us once again right here on Good Morning Uganda, a special Friday edition. My name is Philomena Mastiko, and like earlier on, as I did promise, we had a special guest that is going to take us through quite one of the most interesting topics we can talk about Uganda. This morning, I am joined by Mr. Mauku Richard Moses, the General Secretary from Uganda Hotels, Food Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You're most welcome, Philomena.
It's a very, very big pleasure to have you here, and considering what we are going to talk about.
Thank you, and I want to take this occasion to greet Ugandans. I also want to take this opportunity to join the rest of the Ugandans in mourning our fallen Right Honorable Speaker, Jacob Oulanyah, in whose preparations the country is to offer him a state funeral and burial today. We wish everybody the very best during that sad occasion, but life has to move on.
Absolutely. All right. Now, I understand that the field you're coming has a lot to do with tourism, especially this union. It plays a very big and major role. And maybe before we delve into all the nitty-gritties of the tourism sector, how it's faring and all that, maybe you could take us through some of the things that you do as the HTS union.
HTS Union, in full, it is Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union, the organization that I head as Chief Executive. I want to take this opportunity to first and foremost salute the workers of this country for a job well done, especially those over whom we pretend as a union in the tourism sector among the other subsectors that we represent and organize. As you are well aware, Uganda has for a long time been enjoying tourism as the most and highest foreign exchange earner for the economy and in our GDP. But when COVID-19 came, 2021, the income reduced by about 74% from what we were expecting, and it was inevitable. So arising from those pitfalls, the economy has had a lot of setbacks, and now we are focusing on recovery.
Yes.
And in focusing on this recovery, it is important that the stakeholders in the tourism industry, especially government, as guided by the Ministry of Tourism, and the agencies, Uganda Wildlife Authority, UTB, and the private sector, business people, investors in the tourism industry, need to focus more and now on the recovery of tourism, which has been the giant for quite some time, which has been a livelihood for very many people. Over 600,000 people in Uganda are engaged in tourism-related businesses. And its effects have a very big impact, both on the economy as a government, but also as to very many individuals, because of the multiplier effect tourism has on every Ugandan.
Okay.
So under the circumstances, it is important that we focus on domestic tourism as one of the sustainable strategies to recover.
Yes, Mr. Mauko, I love that you actually talk about domestic tourism. This has been one that has been advocated for by the Ministry of Tourism and all, the major key players in this sector. Maybe just to paint for us a picture, how have we been doing domestic, especially when it comes to domestic tourism, before COVID? And that is pre-COVID and post-COVID. If you're going to compare, of course, it is bad, but we would want to know how we were faring, and probably we can gauge from there what we have to do to make sure we cover up the gap.
What I can only say is I may not produce empirical figures.
Yes.
As into how many people, but all I know is that domestic tourism in Uganda has been doing very badly as compared to other countries.
This is sad.
Most of the statistics that we have had indicate that domestic tourism contribute towards in the tourism industry is about 15% of what we earn.
This was before COVID-19?
Before COVID-19. Ugandans have either bad tendencies because most of us prefer going to tour elsewhere and not in Uganda, while other people are preferring to come to Uganda because of the rich heritage that we have. For us, we want to go and tour outside. Even people that have money in Uganda here, they prefer going to Arusha, to Kenya, and other destinations, but they don't know Maction Falls, which is a very highly preferred destination in the whole world.
Yeah.
But somebody who lives here, just about 300 kilometers to reach Maction, top of falls in Maction here in Masindi. We don't know that place. But if you go there, you would feel that you should go there every year, if you reached there. And that has been a problem. One of the things that I think lack of awareness, mindset. When somebody gets money, we spend most of the time, most of our money
to jump on the plane to the next country.
Exactly, or go to a bar and swallow some beers for those who enjoy beers, and not knowing that it would be more of a pleasure if you probably took your family. Even Lake Embro. Lake Embro is even before Mbarara. And there are spaces there that are very interesting, the zebras. As you enter the park, you are welcomed by zebras. Many of them, they are not very hostile.
Yes.
People do pictures with those animals, but people have passed that road going to Mbarara several times. They have never branched to see the animals that we have there. So we have had a poor mentality. But when you go to other countries, like, for example, China, it is above 97% domestic tourism.
Their very own people actually.
Their own people.
Yes.
I got opportunity to be in China, and we toured the 8 most popular touristic sites in China. While in Beijing, we went to Chairman Mao's palace. And we were a delegation of about 12 people from Uganda, including a Chinese. But when we went into that place, the statistics that we got there was amazing. On a daily basis, they have over 30,000 tourists. But out of those, you may hardly get even 10 non-nationals.
Oh, wow.
Most of the people are Chinese themselves, touring their own. And we became tourist attractions ourselves. We were the only black, I think, among the 30,000.
Yes.
Everybody wanted to take pictures with that, to touch and see if we are either metallic or what.
Yes.
and the ladies that we have with very beautiful hair, everybody was struggling to take a picture with an African. And when we actually asked, there are Chinese who have never seen an African. But somebody is 50 years, he has never seen an African. So in some countries, people treasure their own tourism and actually contribute a great deal to their own tourism. Here, it is the vice versa.
Yes.
But also, it is attributed to very many factors. Uganda as a country and as a government put in enough efforts to ensure that they develop domestic tourism.
Okay.
And it is the answer. When we were struck by COVID, travel across borders.
Yes, because it was
if we were in the habit of touring, we would be doing certain things on our own. But it became a problem. I want to thank one of the facilities that is promoting domestic tourism is the Madvan Group, the Marasa lodges, the Chobe. At least in Chobe, we are registering high numbers of Ugandans.
Actually, before we get into that, Mr. Mauku, I wanted to ask, before we get into what people are doing, what even you as the HTS Union is doing, do you actually feel like we as Uganda, even all the key players in the sector, are doing enough to, encourage people to fully engage in domestic violence? Because like you said, I will get my about like 4 or 5 million, and definitely probably the first place that will come to mind is me to go to Dubai, me to go to China or somewhere. But do you feel like there is a lot of effort or enough effort that is being put into, encouraging Ugandans to go and visit these places?
I would say the efforts are still wanting. And we need a little more emphasis in encouraging and promoting domestic tourism. It must form the backbone. And if we rely on only other people, the biggest percentage, then we stand a risk. So I believe that much as a number of efforts have been put in place, we need a little more.
Yes.
UTB is spending quite some monies in ensuring that they promote, among others, domestic tourism. But given the statistics and the trends, most of the budget is focusing on international and not. You can imagine, even when you go to our international airport here in Entebbe, you find the biggest signposts there is MTN, Airtel.
Yes.
Every airport you go to, people talk about their tourism, but not their communication. These are private companies doing business here. How they take the biggest space at the international airport, which is for the country,
where we have people coming
in adverts.
Yes.
You even wonder. International airport, the biggest banner there is MTN. As you fly into Uganda, it is MTN that welcomes you, not UTB, not Uganda Wildlife Authority. You get.
Yes.
And that is one of the biggest opportunities that we have to advertise to all people that
the landscape,
the airport,
matching.
But it is not what we are doing. Two is, I wanted to encourage or advise the agencies. UWA is doing a lot, and we actually appreciate and applaud UWA for the various things that they have done as the owners of the touristic sites. They have done everything possible, and they continue to. They have improved on infrastructure. It used to be very, very difficult to access some of the touristic sites,
yes,
especially Kidepo Valley. It is one of the best national parks that Uganda has. But the roads to Kidepo Valley a few years ago, they were impassable.
The accessibility was
accessibility was horrible. But today we have roads. There are even buses that ply up to Karenga, into the park almost itself, which was a nightmare some 5-10 years ago. It would even take 2 days. One time we went there and we had to be pulled by a tractor for 30 kilometers.
What?
No vehicle could manage to penetrate. And that was the road between Kitugum and Kidepo.
Yes.
And the other side, the warriors were killing people. Like this time again, those reports that are coming from
the
Karamojong
yes,
area, where they have again started raiding and killing people. It is very unfortunate. It will scare the tourists. The good thing is that now there is an alternative route that you can use, Gulu, Kitugum, and Kidepo.
Yes.
But all in all, those such occasions or cases, they scare off our tourists. And it is important that government actually, like it is doing, to emphasize that they completely eradicate that issue of the Karamojong warriors and the raiders. I also wanted to mention that other stakeholders, some of the issues that have been deterring or disturbing domestic tourism is actually our own service providers here. They attach a lot of value to Mzungu.
Because I will tell you for sure, I have seen people complain on social media, okay? You know, even when you go to some of these places, top priority is given to the foreigners, exactly, and the locals are very blatant
by that one. Actually, when two people walk into a restaurant, a waitress or waiter will prefer starting
with the foreigner.
With the foreigner. One thing is they expect a lot more from a foreigner than when actually in the real sense an African might even give him or her a bigger tip,
yes,
and the other person may not, but they just feel either pride in identifying with the Mzungu. And then when it gets to tariffs, you find some of these local hotels here also telling you that we only charge in dollars. It is a deterrent.
Yes.
Some Ugandans have a lot of money, but not in dollars. And these are people who can also enjoy local tourism.
Yes.
But they are being disturbed. Some people that have a lot of money here are not highly educated. So when you begin telling him or her about dollars, they get
very many people really want to be associated to the dollars and the shilling.
Everybody who has his or her money,
yes,
would wish to enjoy his money with respect, pride. When you go, you must be received well. So we have to, some kind of, the service providers need to orient the staff and need to have tariffs both in local and the international currencies,
yes,
so that somebody who is wanting to do domestic tourism does it with ease and happiness, so that he can go back again.
Yes.
And then the other people that I also wanted to make mention about is the other service providers like live around the Uganda Tourism Board and OA. We also have the aviation issues at the airport, especially in relation to the pandemic. The countermeasures, very good as they are, sometimes they deter certain people because of these so-called delays, the testing that is done there, and the bureaucracies involved.
Yes.
And some of the people that come here as tourists are elderly people who would wish to have their comfort.
For it to be a very swift process.
Exactly.
Yes.
So they need also to look into the processes of how long it takes one after arriving at the airport for you to get cleared through those protocols so that somebody gets to move on. It is a deterrent, especially to the elderly people. Time they are asking, how are these procedures at your airport?
Yes.
You know?
Because they will drive them away if they
Definitely.
take longer. Yeah.
So it is important that we look into all those aspects. And also, I want to continuously encourage Uganda Wildlife Authority to create stimulus packages for Ugandan tourists. For example, if you started a package where you say children shall visit or shall tour tourism facilities free, children between 5 years to maybe 14 years.
Yes.
The children will push us to take them to those facilities because for them they are not going to be charged. You only charge the parent and the child will not go alone.
Absolutely,
you get.
yes.
So such things can encourage domestic tourism a little more by focusing on children, or giving a package that makes a child pay very little that she can also afford.
Yes.
And then he will ask the parent, Daddy, can you take me to Maction Falls? We are only supposed to pay maybe 10,000. I have it here.
Okay.
So you take me. So those are stimulus packages that we are thinking about that can actually attract and interest domestic people to go and do these tourism visits. That's what I can say.
All right. We are still here with Mr. Mauku Richard, the General Secretary from the HTS Union, and we're talking about promoting domestic tourism in Uganda. What can be done? What are the challenges that, we are facing? Because domestic, like he said, Uganda, we're not really doing so well when it comes to domestic violence. And we can't even use COVID-19, rather, I beg your pardon, domestic tourism. And like he did say, this is not about even COVID-19. This was way before COVID-19 came in. So clearly, we'll still have a lot to do. Now, Mr. Moses, I'm just going to say, I saw complaints by several people because there are certain travel groups that I've seen, because now Ugandans have, picked up a habit of actually, they've got into a habit of going to all these safaris, to all these places. But one of the major challenges was that there is quite some price discrimination when it comes to some of these places. And they say you'll find some places where you're charged way a lot of crazy amounts of money as a Ugandan. They expect to have quite maybe a lower price, considering that they are Ugandan residents. And maybe, do you think that would be a way of encouraging domestic violence? Because to be honest, some people will not go to see these places because of these prices. The Kamane is not, it's not enough.
Well, that is the reality.
Yes.
We have one general problem when it comes to competition in Uganda. Uganda is one country that has not thought that it's quite important and prudent that we establish a policy and or law on competition. Here, we have lodges. Some of our member organizations as a union.
Yes.
The lodges in Fort Portal here, you find the lodge charging $600 per night. $600.
Yes.
And such figures are quite deterrent to domestic tourism.
Yes.
Though these are businesses that are private and they have their own clientele. But they are so beautiful that everybody would wish to have.
Every Ugandan would want to be there.
So where there is absence of a competition law, those issues shall continue. There is need for a policy to guide competition. Fair competition.
Yes.
This, it's like what happens sometimes in education and other sectors. Children go to schools. One person in a primary school, for example, is paying 1.5 million for primary 7 as school dues. Another person in a government school is paid for by government about 4,000 shillings a term. But they do the same exam at the end of it all. So even in competition here, different hotels charge differently depending on the standards. But you remember that here, not all hotels have been rated to be given stars. So each person dreams of what to charge. And he charges what he has charged. So we need proper guidance by the mother ministry. If all hotels were rated and given stars, then the ministry would say star 2, star 3, star 4, and star 5 star. the rates should range between this to this, this to this, and this to the other, so that a tourist can make choice.
All right.
Of where you want to go and which services you'd want to have. Equally, the service providers, the hotels themselves, we also have issues there of our employees, our members, where the standards are not adequate.
Yes.
The service is still wanting because we have substandard colleges or schools that are producing these people who the employers are saying the employees that we get from the colleges or the vocational institutions are substandard. And people, given the fact that in private sector people are focusing on profit, sometimes they forget the importance of on-job training. So we should continue employing people who are having some issues in as far as competencies are concerned, but they are qualified.
Well, we clearly see that competition is really being crazy, but also the COVID has come in. But I mean, it's also your responsibility as a Ugandan to make sure you go and see all these, tourist places that we have in Uganda. Don't think about Dubai in the first place. Don't think about China. Don't think about any other. You have Uganda, and we are truly endowed with all this natural beauty. Well, that's it. That's it this morning, definitely. And that was Mr. Mauko Richard, the General Secretary of the Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union. Definitely, we're going for a break right now, but when we get back, I'll be getting into some more of your feedback, and that is in regards to some of your memorable quotes coming in from the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. Thank you for stopping by, Mr. Richard. It was a pleasure having you this morning.
You're most welcome. And I salute everybody. I salute the workers of this country. I pray that all goes well.
Absolutely.
So we can improve in all aspects of life.
Sure thing. We'll be back shortly, but also don't forget, we'll be giving you more updates concerning the burial of Jacob Oulanyah that is happening, or that is expected to be happening in Larogi village over there in Omoro district.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Good morning, Uganda. Friday special still happening, and some of your feedback is definitely in concerning the poll question, and that was, what is your favorite or what is your memorable quote from the late Jacob Oulanyah? From you, Malinga Jimmy on Twitter, you're saying politics cannot bring food on the table. And Kamanyure Daniels at Woki, you say he tells the members of parliament, you don't just debate but come with facts. And also from Barin Giant at Nkunda, you're saying we are all corrupt And Muhire Apollo, you also seem to be in total agreement with that same comment. We are all corrupt. And Miltonia, you are actually saying we are all corrupt, Mr. President. And this is true of all Ugandans who are working in government offices. Clearly, this is quite something that we all seem to be interested in. And from WhatsApp, and a gentleman here says, good morning, dear members in the studio. Okelo Simon from Omoro. And of course, you're saying, I'm very sad, but that this is the nature. Oulanyah inspired me to love politics. He's the gentleman who really speaks the truth. I first saw him in 2001 when he came to campaign at home in Lokwel. Well, we are so sorry for your loss, Okelo Simon. And he's actually down on the ground. That is, of course, Omolo. And of course, another one coming in, the late Honorable Jacob Oulanyah sat and ate muwogo, or you can call it boiled cassava, when he went to Apirl during the Acholi and the Madi land Rango. You can clearly tell how he was more related and very down to earth. And we have another one who says, I'm not a Ugandan, but I've heard much about this man. Oh, what a great loss. May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. And this is Ostino Funua. Thank you so much for that feedback. And coming in from Leon, who is the director somewhere there in northern Uganda, Lira City, you're saying, thank you for giving your time to discuss more about our Ugandan legends. He was truly a legend. Of course, we cannot fail to talk about him. But also we have another one who says he left a very great legacy. And your favorite quote you say was, today is the day that the Lord has chosen, and I will celebrate it with all of you. That is how he would start some of his speeches, but he's no more. Continue resting in eternal peace. Well, quite very touching over there. But also on YouTube, most of you did come in, and Marvin the Guide, you're saying the issue of customer care should be improved to the local clients as well. This is in regards, of course, to the topic we were talking about a couple minutes ago, promoting domestic tourism in Uganda. And Atibo Jacob, you say, may God grant him internal peace. That is, of course, Honorable Jacob Oulanyah. And Muzira Michael, good morning, Uganda. Good morning to you, Michael. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. But also from you, Mutembe Abdul Hamidu, saying good morning, Uganda. Well, thank you so much for your feedback. It's actually truly overwhelming, and it's coming in a lot. Of course, as we go on, we'll be sharing all these, but also the whole entire event. Definitely will be giving you all these events and the updates as they unfold regarding the burial of the late speaker of Jacob Oulanyah. Of course, UBC TV is mandated to do that, and we will make sure we fulfill our responsibilities 100%. Well, the team of Pan-African Friday will be coming in right after, but also they'll be giving you more details, and they'll be giving you a more concrete discussion in regards to this great man that Uganda has lost. Well, from me and the entire Good Morning Uganda team, we want to wish you a wonderful and lovely, productive weekend, and hopefully we pray that we meet again on Monday, sometime from the hour of 6:30 all the way till 9 a.m. Have a great weekend ahead, and of course, may the soul of the late Jacob Oulanyah rest in eternal peace. Amen.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Total Energies has undertaken a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring that Ugandan entities and citizens are adequately equipped to participate in the oil and gas sector. Some of these initiatives include training of heavy goods vehicle drivers.
Total Energies contracted safer right way to develop skills for the drivers from Albertine region. They are accommodated free meals, free transport from here to Kampala. Everything is catered for by Total. We do train ladies as well, and as I talk right now, we have got another team of about 15 ladies in Kampala.
People are getting crashes on the way because they don't know what to do. I've got a lot of skills. I know how we should protect one another, the safety of the other road users, which wasn't the case before. And I never expected to really sit in such a truck and drive it. I'm happy and humbled to be part of this group.
Total Energies EP Uganda is committed to the empowerment of Ugandans to take an active part in the overall development of the oil project in Uganda.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
This is how we play. Play with power.
This is how we do it.
How we put a team together. This is how we pass on greatness. Because with this team to inspire us, there's nothing we can't do.
Go for goals and win. Buy a Pepsi glass bottle or Pepsi Max 330 ml. Check another crown and win soda, TVs, caps, t-shirts, and cash. Redeem prizes at any Pepsi depot or truck countrywide. Terms and conditions apply. Pepsi, for the love of it.
The Board of Directors, Management, and staff of Uganda Revenue Authority express sincere condolences on the passing of the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Lokori Oulanyah. Right Honourable Oulanyah will particularly be remembered for consistently defending the Constitution and championing policies on economic development. His respect for the rule of law and dedication to serving his country was indeed admirable. He was a true leader and a patriot who tirelessly championed unity, transparency, and accountability. His passion and commitment towards developing our nation will remain a source of inspiration for many of us. Our heartfelt sympathies go out to his family, the Parliament of Uganda, and all Ugandans in this trying time.
The Uganda Investment Authority is holding the West Nile Investment Summit in Amvol Village in Nyaravul Angal Town Council, Nebi District on Saturday, 9th of April 2022. The West Nile Investment Summit is aimed at promoting and attracting investment projects to domestic and foreign investors for local economic development of the West Nile region. The theme of the West Nile Investment Summit is Mobilization of Domestic Investment for Industrialization, Market Access and Job Creation. The guest of honor will be the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Matia Kasaija. Follow the conversation live on NBS.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Mutego.
Yikwa dola wini kune. Asoka muliyo. Atekeri na itesa ibija sensi.
UBC Mutego.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Uganda Investment Authority is holding the West Nile Investment Summit in Amvol Village in Nyanavol Angal Town Council, Nebi District on Saturday, 9th of April 2022. The West Nile Investment Summit is aimed at promoting and attracting investment projects to domestic and foreign investors for local economic development of the West Nile region. The theme of the West Nile Investment Summit is Mobilization of Domestic Investment for Industrialization, Market Access and Job Creation. The guest of honor will be the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Matia Kasaija. Follow the conversation live on NBS.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Easter celebrates the beginning and the foundation of Christianity, the acquisition of a fundamental right that can never be taken away from us, the right to hope.
We are in a Lenten season. Lenten season prepares us for Easter celebrations.
Let us reconcile, because that is what brought Christ.
This Easter season, watch UBC, your public national broadcaster. For us, we televise UBC Easter season with your religious leaders.
Man, what's a weekend without entertainment? To be boring, right?
It would be a weekend without a vibe. There has to be a vibe. And what better vibe than
Horizon Vibe?
Hey, let's go!
Everybody, let's go! Everybody, let's go! Come on now, give it to me. Hey! True story, man. From the crew to the vibers, we bring you nothing but good vibes. From celebrity interviews.
The song Bikwasagwa I did with Shina Skies, I mean, that was a prayer to me.
Video premieres.
It's okay.
Turn up
sessions.
And if you're licking a fighty, I saw me to look. Gelato honey, oh baby, sumoyo di. Baby, kona. Waka waka when you enter Malicha.
Exclusives and so much more on your number one TV show.
Yo, this is not the usual music. A horizon vibe.
Bringing you nothing but freshness. There is no vibe like
Gambabu Gambi tree.
buli munya-uganda nayitinga amakuru marungi. UBC West erina amakuru marungi kandi agali kwesigwa. Leero za programu zaayo ziri omulunya kitara hamwe n'olufumbira. UBC West eine tekinologiya ey'omulembe eri kugibaasisa kuhika omu bicweka byona omu ihanga nangu n'aheeru y'eihanga. Tukwatire aha frequencies zetu: Kisoro 97.7 Fama, Kabale 93.7 Fama, Hoima 99.1 Fama, Kampala 105.7 Fama, Mbarara 97.4 Fama, Footpoto 98.8 Fama, Masindi 5 Fama. Kurikiriza UBC West ohulire embaganiza. UBC West empika huna.
Every marriage has 100% chances of succeeding. You know why? Because God created marriage, and God never creates failure, and God never designs anything to fail. Every marriage has 100% chances of succeeding. Is your marriage struggling and you're wondering whether it will ever succeed, whether you will ever make it, whether it's even worth holding on to? You got to tune into Unlocking Marital Bliss, because right here we provide the keys to unlock the bliss in your marriage, and you will be able to succeed. We've had testimonies, and lives are changing day by day.
Marriage must be a discipline. It must not be handled like a casual thing.
As women, when we have the outward expression, even our form of respect is tied to the outward things that you do.
Some women now have working class. They don't know how to handle their husbands because the marriage has become like question and answer marriage. Do you have any tea? Don't you have hands to prepare it? Why have you come back late? Did I take your blanket? It's question and answer marriage.
Not any other place, but every Sunday, 3 p.m., right here at UBC. With the one and only Cyrus Rod, not any other.
Unlocking Marital Bliss.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Total Energies has undertaken a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring that Ugandan entities and citizens are adequately equipped to participate in the oil and gas sector. Some of these initiatives include training of heavy goods vehicle drivers.
Total Energies contracted Safer Right Way to develop skills for the drivers from Albertine region. They are accommodated free meals, free transport from here to Kampala. Everything is catered for by Total. We do train ladies as well, and as I talk right now, we have got another team of about 15 ladies in Kampala.
People are getting crashes on the way because they don't know what to do. I've got a lot of skills. I know how we should protect one another, the safety of the other road users, which wasn't the case before. And I never expected to track and drive it. I'm happy and humbled to be part of this group.
Total Energies EP Uganda is committed to the empowerment of Ugandans to take an active part in the overall development of the oil project in Uganda.
.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Butebo.
Yikwa dola wini kune. Asoka mulio. Atekeri na itesa ibija sesi.
UBC Butebo.
The Uganda Investment Authority is holding the West Nile Investment Summit in Amvol Village in Nyanavol-Angal Town Council, Nebi District on Saturday, 9th of April 2022. The West Nile Investment Summit is aimed at promoting and attracting investment projects to domestic and foreign investors for local economic development of the West Nile region. The theme of the West Nile Investment Summit is Mobilization of Domestic Investment for Industrialization, Market Access and Job Creation. The guest of honor will be the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Matia Kasaija. Follow the conversation live on NBS.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.